Or just prior to that, he's drawing 0.6 amps. It goes off scale high for a few seconds, falls back down to about 2.6 or 2.8. Motorboats around there averaging a peak to peak, I'd say, of about 0.1 amps for about a minute and a half. And then the amplitude of the oscillation begins to decrease and the average begins to go down until several minutes later it just flat quits altogether. We've cycled it about 3 times, I believe, with the same results, and then the last 2 times I've cycled it, it has gone off scale high and then immediately come back down to 0.6. Over.
Roy, we haven't talked about landing for several days. Presume it's still 2-2 at Edwards, is that right?
This is 15. We've terminated the charge on battery B.
Roger, 15, we copy.
E aí, meus amigos, vamos lá, vamos jogar Star Citizen. Eu estou numa nave, na Reclaim, no meio do espaço profundo, acho que não tão profundo, né? Fazendo salvas.
The next shuttle is approaching the station. Last call for passengers. The shuttle is preparing to depart.
Please clear the hatch. Shuttle will be departing.
Last call for passengers.
Approaching next
The
station.
shuttle is preparing
If
to
this is your stop, please prepare to disembark.
Last call for passengers. The shuttle is preparing to depart. At Orson Skyway Shuttle Service, we aim to make getting there half the fun. Please enjoy your flight. The next shuttle is approaching the station. Last call for passengers. The shuttle.
Oi, meu filho. Oi, tudo bom, Daço?
Welcome to the ASOP vehicle
Me
retrieval
pegaram aqui uns 4 caras lá na... Yala. Eu vou com a... Agora eu vou com o inferno lá pra dar uma infernada lá. Os caras estão lá. Eles chegaram a entrar na nave, eu matei um. Entraram? Provavelmente, exatamente. Aí estavam uns 3 caras lá. Agora vamos ver. Vou com o inferno, vamos ver. Eles me interditaram aqui, não sei. Aí eu dei accept pra coisa. Tem um monte de caixa lá. Um monte.
Have a pleasant stay.
Agora eu vou ver se eu consigo pegar ele, né?
launch complete. Landing gear up. Please proceed to assigned landing bay.
É. Uma ajuda ao tornado. É. Bom, fica ali na lista, né? Ah! Nossa. Ah, é? São muitos, né?
Quantum travel engaged. Quantum travel complete. Quantum travel engaged. Quantum travel complete.
Agora saber onde eu tô. Não, onde que eles me pegaram, né? Sim. Pois é, tô procurando aqui. Será?
Quantum travel engaged. Quantum travel complete. Quantum travel engaged. Quantum travel complete.
Vou botar dentro da reclame. Mas o de 24 entra.
Ah,
Apiei na manha, mas
eu tava junto contigo quando você...
quando eu botei o segundo, né, que eu fui tentar na teimosia deu certo, mas o primeiro eu deixei pra trás, aquela hora mais cedo. E não tinha quem fosse lá buscar, e quando eu tentei voltar não achei, que não acha mais mesmo não, né? É muito vasto o espaço aqui pra encontrar qualquer coisa.
Caralho, que merda. Dá pra descobrir essa porra? E o xizinho não aparece.
Ontem teve uma hora que demorou, né, a aparecer também. Vou escanear essa nave aqui pra ver o que tem dentro dela. Que é uma C2 que foi em combate. A missão dizia combate. Vamos ver o que tem dentro dela. E essa aqui tá boazinha, ó. Tem 6 de ouro e 3 de quantânio.
6 o quê?
6 é seu.
Ah.
O ouro não dá muito, né? Mas o quantânio tem 75 mil de quantânio lá dentro. O quantânio é bom, porque cada caixinha já é 25 mil. Cadê seu? É 25 mil. Vamos lá.
Quantum travel engaged. Quantum travel complete.
Tu viu que eu botei ele no grupo? O que aconteceu comigo?
O quê?
Eu fui na onda de, vou trocar a cor da pulseirinha do mundo inglês aqui.
Sim.
Aí tinha uma outra no inventário lá, né? Aí eu fui e troquei, né? Joguei lá no coisa e ele fez a mudança.
Lá no The
Só que não tem não, no inventário, né? Mudou. Ele mudou. Só que não tem aquilo que às vezes o servidor desfaz o que você faz. Por causa do lag.
Sei.
Você movimenta uma coisa no inventário e ela some, ela volta, né?
Sim.
Aí aconteceu isso e eu fiquei sem nenhum Mob Glass no braço. Em resumo da ópera, eu não consegui abrir o mapa, não consegui acessar nada aqui.
Puta.
E o pior é que sumiu do inventário. Eu fiquei sem nenhum. Ele sumiu o que eu tirei e sumiu o que eu coloquei. Sumiu os dois.
Puta. E aí, o que você fez?
E aí eu tive que ir voando até Microtech comprar sem rota. Porque não dava pra fazer rota, que o bicho tava... Tive que ir voando, procurando o negócio lá. Aí fui, só de raiva eu comprei logo 15 também. Já de reserva.
Quantum travel complete.
Pra não deixar...
Agora vai ter que sumir muito pra acabar. E caramba.
Pariu, até achar os caras. Achei lá.
Achou os caras?
Não, achei onde tá o meu xizinho.
Entendi.
É em ela mesmo embaixo. Ele já deve ter. Tinha mais de 3.
Quantum travel engaged. Quantum travel complete.
Aí que eu lembrei da torreta, pra ir na torreta, mas aí eles tiraram até a gravidade.
Ixi, a gravidade é dentro da tua nave?
É.
Volta.
Attack on shield. Target friendly.
Morri de novo. Puta.
Oi?
Morri de novo, os caras me atiraram.
Nossa, os caras são bons então de tiro, hein?
É.
Um monte de confusão eles.
Olha que eu botei escudo forte.
Ah, mas dependendo com o que eles te atiram. Ainda mais se for com aquela arma de distorção, desativa o escudo logo, aí você se lasca.
É, e eles estão preparados, porque os caras estão provavelmente pegando a minha carga e tem um ficando de.
Em alerta, né?
É, alerta.
Estamos prestando atenção ali se chegar alguém.
É. Eu atirei muito nele, mas. Tanto é que falou, olha, tá atirando num amigo. Ah, tá. Amigo.
Ele falou contigo? É doida?
Não, não, o sistema falou.
Ah, sim. Entendi. Ah, se brincar, você pegou até creme stat.
Peguei não.
Não? Ah, que beleza.
Eu acho que eu não atirei, mas não destruí ele, né? Não.
Ah, sim.
The next shuttle is approaching the station. Last call for passengers. The shuttle is preparing to depart. Enjoying the view? Our recently redesigned Crusader Industries shuttlecraft featured expanded vista opportunities with their signature crystal mechanics. The next shuttle is approaching the station. Last call for passengers. The shuttle is preparing to depart. Enjoying the view? Our recently redesigned Crusader Industries shuttlecraft featured expanded vista opportunities with their signature crystal mechanics. At Orson Skyway Shuttle Service, we aim to make getting there half the fun. Please enjoy your flight. The next shuttle is approaching the station. Last call for passengers. The shuttle is preparing to depart.
Mas olha a roupa que eu comprei, não aparece aqui.
Enjoying the view? Recently redesigned Crusader Industries shuttlecraft featured expanded vista opportunities with their signature crystal mechanics. The next shuttle is approaching the station.
E você não pega a carga, você não... Ah, mas aí não tem Hammerhead, né?
Tem Hammerhead também.
Last call for passengers.
Mas eu
The
dou
shuttle is
preferência em
preparing
pegar a Hércules, A2, C2 e M2.
Por quê?
Porque é mais fácil de você encher o compartimento. De uma vez só. Porque a Hammerhead, aquele espaço, a parte maior dela é 220 mais ou menos, né?
Uhum.
Aí você tem que botar os mais 9% para encher de uma vez, né? Ficar os 240.
Sim.
A Hércules, a parte principal já é 240. Então, mesmo que você esteja um pouquinho mais longe e ela dê 0%, não dê nem mais nem menos,
Entendi.
você já enche. É mais fácil, entendeu?
The next shuttle is approaching the
De
station.
já você encher de uma vez só. Ih, subiu um container ali. Ah, não, ele caiu ali. Achei que o container tinha
Last call for
sumido.
passengers. The shuttle is preparing to depart.
Ah, falando em sumir container, você sabia que depois de uma certa quantidade de containers eles começam a sumir?
Mas você falou, mas eu não tinha
Pois é.
notado isso.
Another shuttle
Eu notei, sumiu 3 na minha frente.
Skyway Shuttle Service. More flights means less worries.
Sumiu 3 na minha frente. E aí eu fiz a conta, né? Porque dá pra você saber mais ou menos quanto que você pega de cada nave. Aí eu fiz a conta e tava faltando 800 mil.
Porra.
Ou seja, sumiu muito mais do que 3 que eu vi, do que eu vi.
At Orson Skyway Shuttle Service, the next shuttle is approaching the station.
Aí eu fiz. Agora eu tô botando no máximo 5. 6 eu acho que ainda dá.
Last call for
Porque eu
passengers.
percebi que tava
The shuttle
sumindo
is
na
preparing to
7ª.
depart.
Na 7ª nave que eu fui pegar.
Ah.
Aí eu acho que 6 talvez ainda dê. Tá bom, 6 já é muita coisa pra fazer de uma vez.
Mr. Shuttle, not a problem. Another shuttle will be along shortly. At Orson Skyway Shuttle Service, more flights.
O estranho é que
Hum.
veio um monte de pergunta pra mim várias vezes
Como
pra
assim? De quê?
aprovar. Sobre esse
Pra
cara
mim
que roubou.
veio um monte. Ah, tá.
Olha, agora tá, minha máquina tá lerda.
O teu PC?
Track. Deixa eu ver, onde que tem history, alguma coisa assim?
Our recently redesigned
Não
Crusader
tem alguma
Industries
coisa de
shuttle
history aqui?
features expanded vista
De quê?
opportunities.
De
History?
log.
Ah, sim.
Signature crystal.
O history. Ah, é lá em Journal, eu acho. Mas eu acho que ele só mostra mais. Eu não sei se ele mostra esse tipo de informação aí, não.
Providing connections to all major platforms.
Eita,
Crusader Industry
nós.
last call for passengers. The shuttle is preparing to
Os
depart.
contêineres estão querendo se rebelar ali. Eu tô na 3ª, acho que eu vou pegar só mais uma e vou vender. Pera aí, que vocês estão muito rebeldes aí em cima. Deixa eu pegar você aqui. Você também se comporte aí.
At Orson Skyway Shuttle Service, we aim to make getting there half the fun. Please enjoy your flight. The next shuttle
Se
is
comporte
approaching
aí,
the
senão boto
station.
vocês de castigo.
Last call for passengers. The shuttle is preparing to depart. Enjoying the view? Our recently redesigned Crusader Industries shuttlecraft feature expanded vista opportunities with their signature crystal canopies. The next shuttle is approaching the station. Last call for passengers. The shuttle is preparing to depart. Missed your shuttle? Not a problem. Another shuttle will be along shore. At Orson Skyway Shuttle Service, more flights means less worries.
My name is Kaan Chakut. I'm the lead level designer for the PU. I will give you an introduction to our locations when it comes to the design, a high-level overview of the design of our locations. I'm going to describe you the processes of our workflow and the goals that we aim to achieve. So, to break down our process a bit, this is very high level, but it starts out with a pre-production phase, an ideation phase. Here everything starts out in the mind. We bring it down to paper, sketch, write, formulate a plan based on our overall design goals. And then it moves on to the blocking stage. You might have heard of this, like the white box and gray box phase. This essentially contains all of the gameplay that you would see in the final product. Basically, the way it's meant to be played, and we test this out with a lot of iteration and, yeah, a lot of testing. And it's basically, the white box is not in a stage where it's presentable, but that comes now. So on the right, as you see, the food court that Adam is going to be showing you later. Yeah, this is the final product, VFX, lighting, everybody had their pass on this. And level design or other designers still maintains the space and makes sure that the systems that get created are being retroactively implemented. All right, so one key aspect of game development in general is the balance of narrative, visuals, and gameplay. So all these interplay, they interconnect, and it's the foundation that runs through all game environments. So it's important to communicate context, and here in this draw over, you see that narratively, we see sort of a dangerous environment. The spiky shapes here are sort of threatening. We see defensive structures. We can expect some enemy NPCs here, but it's also an old village. Maybe there's some exploration, some loot to be found. And then what's also important is communicating goals. So goals can be the pathways that you take, the gateways that bring you from one step to another, and so on. Okay, whoops. Yep, there we go. Okay, since we're a sandbox game, accommodating playstyles is pretty important. So playstyles meaning going guns in blazing, shooting at everything and everybody, going more of a stealthy, infiltration-y pathway if you wanted to, but also all the social aspects that you know from Stanton. And to do this, we establish, so one of the core design philosophies is granting the player the freedom of choice to do what they want to do at any point throughout their experience. And we do this by establishing or defining multiple pathways or archetypes that we call primary, secondary, and tertiary pathing. So the first one is pretty straightforward. In a social setting, you have the goal right in front of you, and it's a single goal, such as here in the Habs. In a combat setting, this is very exposed, so it's dangerous to traverse this route. Where it gets more complex is when you have, such as with this outpost here, when you have multiple goals that can be equally important to the player at any given point. This is where we need to have a bit more design put into it with, for example, the landmarks that serve as orientation points. So to help you orientate yourself wherever you are in this location. And leading you to these locations by utilizing shape language and composition. The second path is, these are secondary pathways, so these are alternative routes. And these are options that are offered to you as you traverse the area on the primary path, for example. And so you may know this as a tourist when you go to a new city and you look around the corner and you see an alleyway that sort of looks nice and it evokes your curiosity and you want to investigate. In a combat setting, these are covered approaches or opportunities for you to flank the enemy to get to your goal, which could be this building on that sketch. Yeah. Versus more open spaces, when you have, in a combat setting, in open spaces, you tend to be a bit more stationary because you want to feel more secure, unless you're in a vehicle. The third path is tertiary pathing. So these are more hidden infiltration routes, especially discoverable throughout the rundown stations that Adam will be presenting later on. And these are mostly discoverable to the attentive eye. You can explore these, find loot, or different routes to traverse through the station. Environment interactivity. You might have seen this in a previous presentation. It's very important to ground the player to their environment, offering them ways of interaction, being able to change the state of rooms, to toy with the AI, or just simply being able to unblock your pathway. Where it gets a bit more complex is when you talk about resource network systems, such as in day one when Torsten mentioned that we are planning to implement this as well in locations. And this will allow the player to engage with their environment in different ways. They will be able to power up or down entities such as turrets, gates, and doors, and also alter life support systems. And also this ties into security systems. So being able to power up or down certain sections of a security system. And security systems in turn will be dependent on security tokens that you will be able to grab from other NPCs in your environment to then gain access to other terminals, to security terminals or other areas. Reputation is a big topic for us, especially with Pyro. So reputation, what does it mean? It means that it's basically your relationship with factions, and factions are the UEE in Stanton, or outlaw gangs, especially now in Pyro. And this will define your play style within this environment. So it will define how you experience the location that you're in a more social context or in a more combative context. So we talk about reputation gates as well, especially in the later presentations. So in the case of the food court, in the rundown station, we have multiple floors. So the first floor is the gang floor, and that might require you to have a better relationship with the owner of this location, which then will give you unique mission givers that you can go to and accept a mission that are offering you missions themed after the faction or the owner of this location, but also give you access to unique gear, collectibles, ship weapons, and items. You might have seen these locations in the demo if you've played it. So to close this all off and move on to the other presentations, the glue behind all of our locations is the content. It is the reason why you go to these locations in the first place, and our main goal right now is to not have that divide between social and gameplay as much as we do in Stanton, but mix it up a little and make that dependent on the reputation that you have with the factions or the owners of these locations. And yeah, we're looking into more content. As you've seen listed there, there's a bunch of new stuff coming as well. With the later presentations, for example, with the logistics hubs in the second portion, we're also looking into rates. But yeah, that's it for me. I will pass it over to Eddie now. Hope you've enjoyed this. Take care. Bye.
Hi, everybody. So, I'm Eddie. I'm an assistant art director on Star Citizen for locations. Before we start, I'd like to mention that all of the footage we're about to see comes from our current stable builds. So all of that beautiful tech, all of those features that we've seen in the last 2 days is coming from our tech development builds. Now, all those features are going to make their way to you, of course, eventually. But that is the reason you're not going to see some of them in the builds today. I just wanted to get ahead of the comments a little bit there. So with that said, what am I going to be talking about? Well, I'm really excited to show you that the hard work that the Sandbox One team have been doing to expand our new outpost locations. I'm going to start by going over how we've expanded the library and what that means we can now achieve with the new locations, and then how we achieve that variety from the library by categorizing our locations into both archetypes and themes, and what that means for you as a player. So I don't know if you remember this, but at SitCom in 2021, we showed this new style of outpost for the first time. Now, at this point, we had our art style locked in. We'd worked on our library of content to the point where we could make smaller locations like this one, but with a limited amount of variety between each one. And this is what that library of modules looked like at that point. We'd established our main building modules, as well as some of our larger buildings and a number of smaller secondary and dressing and standalone modules. But each outpost couldn't be too large without there being some obvious repetition between the modules used. So let's have a look at that library today. So, in order to achieve that greater visual and design delta between each outpost and have them not feel like exact clones of one another, we've massively expanded our module library in terms of breadth and depth. And what I mean that, we go broad by making more modules with different purposes, and we go deep by creating multiple thematic overlays for each of those modules as well. And I'll go into what that means a little bit in a minute. But the challenge of a sandbox location like this, as you can see, it's not about building a single unique location. That can be quite straightforward, to be fair. It's about giving our artists and designers the building blocks, the affordance to build multiple locations that all feel somewhat different, even if they do share that same basic DNA. So it's about creating both the ingredients at the same time as the recipes, and making sure all of those flavors work in harmony with one another for both visuals and gameplay. So every individual part has to take into consideration all of those design philosophies. So every single module has to take into consideration those design philosophies that Khan mentioned. But we also have to make sure that they work with those same principles when an artist or a designer combines them into any one of a number of different layouts. So the more ingredients we have to work with, the more recipes we can create. But with that complexity comes the challenge of keeping everything harmonious. So we like to think we've done a pretty good job with that. But that's me. Using this expanded library, we've been able to increase the individual location size because there's less of that obvious repetition between buildings within any single location. And we can't really call some of these large locations outposts anymore. They become something more like settlements and imply a larger and more established community. Now, as a player, it will mean a lot more to explore and do at any single individual location with a localized and personal feeling mission types that might see you moving around a single settlement to complete objectives or doing short hop missions between clusters of settlements on a single planet. So you might head up to a ridge to repair some wind turbines. You could counter an outlaw attack from a neighboring outpost, or on the opposite side, you might be stealing or destroying vehicles for the criminal gang that you're working for. But in the art department, we always say, show, don't tell. So let's stop looking at slides and let's have a look at some of the locations in game. Thank you. So what flavors of outposts did we just see there? Well, we categorized them in two different ways, as I said, and then we mix and match those categories together to provide that variation. Now, the first and primary category is the archetype, and they provide that core gameplay hook and define the main function of a settlement. So scrapyards have a landing pit module for repairs and refueling. Mining operations can have a refinery module and ore extractors for resource and commodity trading. And trading posts themselves allow a broader range of item purchases through the dedicated trade building module. And I mentioned earlier some more like general mission types that you might find that would be agnostic of archetype. And the archetypes themselves reflect that primary gameplay function of a settlement, but there's also a middle layer. Of course, we don't want these locations to just be a glorified shop or repair station. So there's to be more secondary activities to do locally to an outpost that are also defined by its archetype. So you may find scrapyards can offer salvage-related gameplay and missions. Trading posts can also offer delivery missions or hauling and cargo gameplay. And farms can offer crops and fauna as resources for gathering or trading. So with archetypes as our primary category, in addition, we mix in a secondary category, and these are the thematic overlays. Now, at the moment, we have two main themes. Internally, we call these independent and outlaw. So themes offer additional variation on top of the archetypes to inform the look and feel of a location, not just visually, but which people you'll interact with there, how they'll respond to you based on your rep, what types of missions you'll have available to take on. So themes don't change the fundamental architecture of a space or the archetype of a location, but they do drastically alter the mood and feel, as well as altering the gameplay experience significantly. And again, let's take a look at the first of our themes, our independent theme. Cool. Thank you. So, as a neutral player, the independent theme presents a much more social, visual, and gameplay experience. The primary visual read across both themes, so across both Outlaw and Independent, comes from those common architectural forms, and they're generally all more rounded and soft in shape, and the building manufacture techniques are more robust and primitive, with single-story dwellings built from stucco and bare metal. But for this theme specifically, we use soft textiles, warm lighting and color palettes, foliage, decoration that layer on top of those utilitarian structures to give that sense of home. And I use the word home for our independent theme quite a lot because we really want to get that feeling that this is home for the people that live there despite those harsh realities of frontier life. And in contrast to that, we have a theme that lies in a direct opposition to the independence, which we call the outlaw theme. So let's take a look at that now as well. So the Outlaw theme tells that story of these once functional settlements being completely overrun by the various criminal elements that inhabit the system. And visually, we have themes of a regressed and subverted civilization. So we layer on top of the architecture these spiked and aggressive forms, and we have evidence of a squalid living arrangements, and lighting comes from fires or poorly maintained fixtures. Some spaces are going to be recognizable as deformed versions of the independent theme, but some have been completely changed to more nefarious purposes. And while both themes employ all of the various alternative pathing and traversal considerations that Khan detailed just earlier, the Outlaw spaces are weighted more towards combat. But just because these spaces are more dangerous and the experience can be more combative, that doesn't mean that the archetype of the outpost is lost. So if you as a player choose to be a criminal working up your rep with a headhunter gang, you'd be welcome at the trading posts, and you'd be able to buy and sell items or take on missions. But you probably won't then be very welcome at the independent-themed locations, and that's where you'd get your combat experiences. So while the Outlaw theme looks very different, the functionality of those archetypes still remain. So I've talked about the kinds of outposts we've been hard at work on, and I hope you've enjoyed checking them out over the last 2 days.
Caramba, uma bagada.
I think you're going to be happy with that.
Cortei.
Last call for passengers. The shuttle is preparing to depart.
Vamos ver o que acontece. Mas quando eu relogar, não vai relogar dentro de um asteroide.
Please clear the hatch. Shuttle will be departing.
E aí, essa daí que olha onde que é isso aqui que ele foi, que ele postou aqui.
Quem?
É o Matheus Gabriel. Hein, ô Tarso?
Oi?
Quem é o Matheus?
Matheus?
É.
Não sei não.
Tá aqui, pô.
Aonde?
Tá, isso aqui não é do Star Citizen.
Matheus não é aquele que jogava com a gente no ar?
Mas em que canal? Tô vendo nada aqui.
Tá aqui no chat lá.
Em qual chat?
Do Lil.
Ah, no chat da live, entendi.
É.
Ah, tá, eu achei que era aqui no coisa.
Na live? Não, live não tem nada.
No Discord.
Ah, no Discord.
Não, no Discord tô vendo não.
Lá, pô, tá baixo aí. O Puma colocou um aqui 7/1/23. É o único que eu tenho aqui que ele postou.
No balãozinho?
Qual canal? Como é o nome do canal?
O canal é
Approaching next station.
o canal do Clã IRI Chat. Olha, onde você tá,
tá
ô?
no chat, tá.
Onde
eu tô? Eu tava em outro canal.
Que outro canal você tava, cara? Você sempre esteve aqui no Star Citizen, do canal do Clã?
Sim, eu tava no canal Live On. Canal chat, pra mim... Não, pra mim no canal do chat, a última mensagem que aparece é de 25 de novembro de 23.
Ô, louco, mano. A live aí é o do Nil, que foi ó.
Canal chat, lá primeiro, lá do servidor.
Então, o primeiro, se você colocar, aparece de um cachorrinho.
Sim, de 30 de janeiro.
E depois tem o Pumba colocou 7/1.
Pra mim não aparece isso aí, não.
Tem uns bonequinhos lá.
Ah, lá em cima. Ah, você tá olhando de trás pra frente?
É.
Ah, sim,
Eu tô olhando o primeiro, se chegar, ele vai
lá.
aumentando aqui.
E tem
Não, você tá subindo a conversa, tá rolando pra cima. As mais antigas. Ah, tô vendo ali, Matheus Gabriel, isso aqui não era do Man's Sky ali?
Acho que é. Eu falei, ué, isso aqui não é de Star Citizen.
O Matheus, então era um outro Matheus, esse Matheus que
Matheus Gabriel.
O Matheus que jogou no Ark com a gente.
É esse aqui mesmo, ele que jogava com vocês aí. Que jogava lá.
Welcome to the ASOC Vehicle Retrieval System. Your insurance claim has been sent. Your insurance claim has been sent.
One stop, man. Beep. Ai, deixa eu só entrar aqui, tem que entrar no EA. Dar o som.
Please visit us again. Goodbye.
Escorpios. Isso tá certo. Tem que ver se acho que a gente... Cutler Black. Deixa eu ver o Cutler Black aqui. Tem que ver se a arma que a gente colocou depois do wipe ficou, né?
Ah, depois daquele wipe lá, ela sai. Você tem que reequipar. Ela fica no inventário depois você equipa.
É gozado, mas a minha Cutlass Black ficou igual. Não saiu não. Deixa eu ver.
Ela não desfez o loadout que você tinha pegado?
Não, aqui ó. Tá tudo aqui. Caos, Rattler 2. Attrition 3. Ó, traz o bolo. Não esquece de trazer o bolo não, hein? Ô, Falcão. Attrition. Vamos ver o próximo. Ó, olha, até bolo ele quer que... Reclaim. Ele quer comer alguma coisa de qualquer jeito. Vamos ver os Super Horror, né?
Diz aí que vai comer, hein?
Ah, é?
Ó, pô, você tá pedindo bolo aí, pô.
É, tá
Olha aí.
pedindo bolo, mano. É... Não, não, deixa ela aí, depois eu vejo lá. Não esquenta não. É, deixa quieto.
Nossa, 120. Eu vou soltar pra estação. Tá muito longe. Nossa, olha só, miserável. Era pra dar pra saltar direto pro salvage, velho. Uma outra missão essa aqui não, essa é um bichinho. Você salta pra perto, mas não salta pra lá. Rodar 80 quilômetros no asteroide aqui.
1.
Welcome to the ASOC Vehicle Retrieval System. Please visit us again.
In the airlock now, and it's dumped to, well, first I dumped it to 9, and then it